This was a fun conversation. He's honest as they come. It's like you're talking to your buddy at a restaurant or something like that. Very straightforward when you talk to Mike Macdonald. And here's the deal on this. When you have your first new head coach in 14 years, there will be a lot of firsts in a long time. A new era is a term thrown out so often, but really, it is absolutely true in this scenario. And it's where Mike Macdonald hopes his era is long and filled with championship football. Mike Macdonald, as competitive as they come, there were no shortage of suitors for his services, even if Mike is too humble to admit. So how did this match in Seattle defensive heaven come together? It's something Coach calls a leap of faith.
We were in a position where we loved, and we had a great position. We were in a great city. We had a great community. And so to decide to change and take the next challenge in your career and fulfill your dreams and try to fulfill your vision of how you wanted to operate a team, I think it felt right, with the people here, and then meeting with John and his vision for the team, as well as Jody. And a leap of faith might sound a little strong, but of course, you're moving to that next stage in your career, and we just felt like that was the right decision at the time.
Knowing about this franchise, and you'd come here as a visitor a few years back, just your impressions on this organization when you came in. Obviously, that stadium's quite loud.
Yeah.
Just the impression that maybe left on you, and how much did, I don't want to say impact on a job, but how much did that maybe, play in your mind at all?
Well, I mean, obviously you watched the Seahawks throughout your whole life, and the success that they've had here over time, and being in the Super Bowls, and you always appreciated how they. I was always watching on defense, so they've always played the right way. They played in a way that you respect, and it felt like almost like a mirror image of East Coast and West Coast from when we were in Baltimore.
So how much can you bring some of the same ideas and ways of playing from that franchise to what you did to this one?
The best way I can describe our style is I want the opposing team to feel like they're playing more than 11 guys. So call it 12, 13, 14 guys at a time. So what does that feel like? Everyone is playing with so much intensity and energy and physicality that it feels like you're playing more than 11 guys. And so that applies to offense, special teams, defense, but that's what we try to build in Baltimore, and we'll build it again here.
The vision is clear. First head coaching job or longtime veteran, youngest or oldest coach in the league, it doesn't matter. Mike Macdonald has the same goal, and he's on the ground working right now to achieve it.
You need to have alignment in organizations to have success, and I believe that we have that. And we have a lot of great players already on the roster, and I'm excited to get to really meet those guys in person and get to work with them. But it's not just who's there right now, it's about what we're going to build over time, and who we're going to bring in the building, bring in the right type of people, and build the type of team that we envision go win a couple championships.
That last part sounds pretty good, right? So my biggest takeaway in this conversation, like we mentioned, Mike is down to earth. He's direct. There's not coach speak, as you just heard, or political lines being thrown around. Yeah, talking with Macdonald is like talking to a friend about anything other than football as well. And certainly that's why he's not looking at this first new transition in 14 years for the Hawks. He's being himself, taking it one day at a time. No question about that. It really did strike me when you said it was a leap of faith for you and your wife to come out. Me and my wife did the same thing 3 years ago. She was 6 months pregnant. We got in the U-Haul from Syracuse, New York, and drove out here.
Yeah.
I had 3 dogs in the front. Anyways, the point is, it resonated with me, and I just wanted to dive deeper into that. What about Seattle made that the leap of faith to take in this journey?
We were in a position where we loved, and we had a great position. We were in a great city. We had a great community. And so to decide to change and take the next challenge in your career and fulfill your dreams and try to fulfill your vision of how you wanted to operate a team, I think it felt right, with the people here, and then meeting with John and his vision for the team, as well as Jody. And a leap of faith might sound a little strong, but of course, you're moving to that next stage in your career, and we just felt like that was the right decision at the time. Yeah.
That was another thing that I was struck by, is the relationship with you and John. It looked like you guys have been buddy for 20 years up there.
Feels like it.
Even your wives were, in the crowd sitting to my left, and they were having a good time at the presser.
Yeah.
How special is that? How much more easy, for lack of a better term, did it make it to say, okay, this is the right move right now?
Well, when you're going through the process, you're talking to a lot of mentors and people that have gone through it, and you look at the Ravens and the setup they have there between John and Ozzie and John and Eric, and the relationship between the GM and the head coach is so important. There's so many big decisions that we're going to have to stay together with, and through trials and tribulations and adverse times, and hopefully a lot of great times together. But that relationship is just so important that you have to be on one accord, and it just felt like that was the right situation.
Has he caught up on some of those movies you were recommending yet?
We're working on it. Yeah,
a little busy the last month.
Yeah, we're working on it.
And you mentioned kind of knowing about this franchise, and you'd come here as a visitor a few years back. Just your impressions on this organization when you came in. Obviously, that stadium's quite loud.
Yeah.
Just the impression that maybe left on you, and how much did, I don't want to say impact on a job, but how much did that maybe play in your mind at all?
Well, I mean, obviously you watched the Seahawks throughout your whole life and the success that they've had here over time and being in the Super Bowls, and you always appreciated how I was always watching on defense, so they've always played the right way. They played in a way that you respect, and it felt like almost like a mirror image of East Coast and West Coast from when we were in Baltimore. So always respected Coach Carroll and how he's operated, and John about how he's the type of people he's brought into the building. That was just going into the whole situation of like, man, this is such a great organization. What an opportunity that would be to come join them.
And I mentioned the fan atmosphere. What do you remember about
Sure.
that? And what has the reception been like since you?
Well, I can't wait to meet. There's one fan in the corner of the visitor locker room that he's done his homework. Let's put it that way, and it's very clever. And so whoever that is, I cannot wait to meet him because he does a great job. But that was of talking a little trash to the opponent. But the place is rocking, and it's all the teams. I mean, it's really it's the city and the fans and everybody together. So just so much respect for how much they put pressure on the opposing teams. And but there's the one guy right in the corner. I don't know his name. Forgive me for not knowing your name, but. He does an awesome job.
Guess you meet him in September, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they're pretty awesome. And one more thing about the overall feel of this organization. This is just me talking. It almost feels like a family when you're, even for us in the media a little bit, like the way the atmosphere, the way everything's taken care of. What was that feeling like when you got here? And I remember the video when you first walked in, everybody was waiting for you. Just what's that been like, that part of it? Away from X's and O's, just the feeling you get when you're with this franchise.
Yeah, that was special. That was cool. And what it showed me was like, hey, like there's so many people behind the scenes here that make this place come to life. That is the Seattle Seahawks. That really was a humbling experience. And you've seen how coaches have entered buildings before and for the first time, and everyone's got the cameras and stuff. But to have that opportunity to meet everybody for the first time and understand the power of who is in the building and kind of the horsepower we have here, that was really special.
Absolutely. And getting into a little of the coaching side, the X's and O's here. I know it's been a whirlwind month. You had to fill out a staff about a million other things.
Yeah.
And you just take me through what that's been like. Obviously, filling a staff is not easy.
Sure.
Just the road that's been for you all.
Yeah, you're hiring a lot of people, and it's going to be the lifeblood of our organization. Those are the guys that are and women that are going to be working with our players on a day-to-day basis. So it's incredibly important. So the X's and O's has taken a back seat for the first 3 weeks or so, but fortunately, we're pretty much done, on the staffing side. And so, we're not going to be at the combine next week, so we're going to hit the ground running on Monday and dive into our systems and start building this thing out. So when the players show up in April, we're rolling.
Have you had a chance to meet with I know it's kind of the off season crazy. Have you had a chance to meet with any of the players, and what's that been like?
So I'm working through contacting most of the guys, and really it's just a conversation of who they are and where they're coming from, what their experiences have been like, and just try to get to know the guys on the team. Yeah,
and it's a business, but they haven't had a coaching change in 14 years, so it's a little bit different. How do you approach that aspect of it?
I don't really think about it that it's that long. I mean, obviously, there's been a lot of things that the way the team has done things over time. So there's a little bit of path dependence there that we'll fight at certain points, but not worried about it.
What is the vision for? I mean, there's a lot of work between now and September, obviously.
Sure.
Not being naive about that, but that week 1 game, what's the vision? What kind of team do you want to see out there?
Oh, man, that is a long way away from now. And the mentality that I'm taking is just one step at a time, one day at a time. But I want to see a collective unit, ready to roll, playing for each other, confident, so we can go play the style of football we want to go play, which we'll be building that over the next few months.
No question about it. And as far as that style of play, I mean, every team's got different personnel and stuff, but I think a lot of fans, as soon as they found out there was going to be a new coach coming in, they were watching what your Ravens not only did to this team in November, but had done over the last couple of years. Just how much can you, again, understanding it's different personnel, how much can you bring some of the same ideas and ways of playing from that franchise to what you did to this one?
The best way I can describe our style is I want the opposing team to feel like they're playing more than 11 guys. So call it 12, 13, 14 guys at a time. So what does that feel like? Everyone is playing with so much intensity and energy and physicality that it feels like you're playing more than 11 guys. And so that applies to offense, special teams, defense, but that's what we try to build in Baltimore, and we'll build it again here.
So an old coach once told me talking football with a coach, it's like me talking checkers, you're talking chess. I always like that analogy. But with that caveat out there, when you were in the process with this and you were looking at this team, what about it was like, I think we can win here. I think we can do some great things here.
Well, the track record, and then understanding who the people are and what they're about. I mean, you need to have alignment in organizations that have success, and I believe that we have that. and we have a lot of great players already on the roster, and I'm excited to get to really meet those guys in person and get to work with them. But it's not just who's there right now, it's about what we're going to build over time, and who we're going to bring in the building, bring in the right type of people, and build the type of team that we envision go win a couple championships.
And I know it's work, but what's the excitement for that process like as you can put your own and your coaching staff stamp on this, whether it's the guys that's here, you know, the free agency, the draft, whatever it is. Is there an excitement to that part of it as well?
Absolutely. I mean, it's every day. I mean, every day is a new challenge, and we're just trying to have stack great days. And it takes 100% of your effort to have a great day. Let's do it today. Let's regroup, get some sleep, and we'll go again the next day.
Absolutely. So I want to ask you some questions about you, so fans out there that are watching get to know you a little bit.
Right.
Coach Macdonald, what's something about you that we don't know?
This came up in our scouting meetings the other day, but I'm a Harry Potter fan.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a big Harry Potter fan.
There's a big thing up in Bellevue this weekend about that.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
All right,
it's
you
like an
might,
experience.
maybe I'll sneak in there.
Yeah, because you have so much time to do that, right? Sports hero growing up. Do you have a couple? Do you have one?
All right, I don't say that. I may or may not have said this in a prior interview, but Ken Griffey Jr. was one of my top guys. Michael Jordan, obviously, but Ken Griffey, he was definitely a favorite of mine.
Might as well just give you the lifetime contract right now. Absolutely. And
I can give you his birthday too, but I already spit that out.
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And of course, you got to go with the J's and the MJ, right? Absolutely.
Yeah, I see your swag.
Yeah, no, appreciate that. Last thing I'll ask you here, is there a hidden talent or something, Coach, outside of football, something that, like, I don't know.
I was a pretty mean Madden player back in the day before I actually started coaching, so everyone
Nice.
that knows that's played me, you know who you are.
I love it. Last thing, so many 12s are going to be watching this, whether it's on our air on KOMO News or on the web, whatever it is. Your message to them as we get going with this whole thing.
I want them to know how excited we are, just to work with them and be with them. I can't wait to get out in the community. I can't wait them to see our football team. I want them to know we're working every day to create a product and create a team that they're going to be proud of on Sundays.
Awesome, Coach. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you got it. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much. All right,
Absolutely.
Thanks for your time. Absolutely.
Cool.